Oh, right. Today we're talking about the king of pumps. Literally, it's the name of the product. If you guys are familiar with Chemix, the Gorilla Chemist, you're probably no surprise that it's called the king of pumps because the Gorilla Chemist makes some really cool stuff. He deep dives on some wild ingredients. There's a reason we get along so well, right? I think actually the Gorilla Chemist was the first podcast I ever did with PricePlow. Kind of cool legacy right there. But we're always huge fans of the incredible formulas that go along with Chemix. And today we're going to be talking about the king of pumps. Obviously, the pump product from Chemix. The no stims here, but definitely a lot of blood flow. There's a bunch of stuff to get through here, and you know the Gorilla Chemist goes deep dive, so we're going to do the best that we can to do that justice. So let's jump in. So obviously, first off the top, we see this in a lot of pump products, 6 grams of L-Citrulline. Now, this is pure L-Citrulline, not citrulline melt. You're getting 6 grams of that full dosage. And citrulline is a great place to start. It's the better version of arginine. It yields more arginine in your body than if you took arginine itself. It's also 6 grams here is going to be equivalent to what you see in 1.5 grams of nitrosogene, a very popular trademarked pump ingredient, is equivalent to this much in citrulline. So a strong product to lead off with. It's got a lot of different benefits like greater ATP production, increased work output, better recovery, improved oxygen uptake, higher intensity exercise performance gains, improved growth hormone release. And what's really wild is actually this is meant to be stacked with the pre-workout that comes with Chemix as well, which is more citrulline added into it. Obviously, this is a strong contender here with 6 grams, but you get even more if you stack it with that or any other stimulant pre-workout, which is obviously popular for pump products. I don't need to go in depth on citrulline. You guys know it's probably one of the most popular pump ingredients in the market, and for good reason. It definitely works. So let's jump into where we get exciting down the road in this formula. Now, this ingredient isn't exactly new or different, but the dosage of it definitely is. 5 grams of betaine anhydrous. Now, you're definitely familiar with betaine. It's awesome osmolytic hydration ingredient. It's also known as trimethylglycine. And Gorilla definitely was one of the first people to push the dosage. Now, I'm not saying no one else has done this. There have been other instances of this, but as you guys come to expect, the Gorilla Chemist does things kind of early. It's also dosed this high in its pre-workout. So again, if you're going to stack this with its pre-workout, you're going to get more of this stuff, which we absolutely love. Normally, I would say this is like doubling down on an ingredient, but normally we get 2,500 milligrams. You got 5 grams of it in here. You got another 5 grams of it in the pre-workout. So if you take them together, you're actually quadrupling down on this ingredient, which is pretty cool to see. Now, this is cool to see because it really does like almost everything. It includes supporting athletic performance enhancement, muscle building, fat loss, cardiovascular health, and it even prevents cells from heat shock. But the Gorilla Chemist will tell you here the main reason he included betaine anhydrous here was to induce intracellular hyperhydration. Now, this is going to boost water flow into cells, which is going to induce cell swelling, providing a unique benefit that we kind of see like as a water pump. We'll often talk about this when it comes to glycerol, but glycerol is obviously more of a clumping product. You don't see as high of a dosage like this. But more on that later. This osmotic effect is also the reason that it's responsible for so many endurance and performance enhancements. As long as you have a lot of water and electrolytes in here in the body, which you should as an athlete, this effect is going to be so helpful. Topping this all off, betaine anhydrous also has benefits for nitric oxide production. Not really the main benefit here, but it's always nice that in a pump product, we're getting extra benefits of pump. Now, after that, we go into glycerol. Like I said, glycer size here at 3 grams. This is an awesome osmotic ingredient as well. It's going to help again with hyperhydration, that water pump. But this is also an ingredient that's going to clump up sometimes. It's kind of the reasons why you see some pre-workouts clumped. And so you won't see it at that 5 gram dosage like betaine anhydrous is in here. But again, 3 grams of it here is still pushing the limits of what's possible in a powder. It's a lot of the reasons why you see desiccant packets in here, including silica usually, to make sure that it doesn't clump up too badly. Now, glycer size is a trademarked version of glycerol. It claims a 65% standardization. The rest of it is going to be silica that's going to help with not clumping. Now, glycer size is just like betaine anhydrous that it helps with endurance, but it's definitely going to help out with a lot of hyperhydration. Like we mentioned, that cellular pump is going to be awesome as long as you're drinking enough water. I always recommend if you're going to drink something like this pre-workout, I want to make sure that you're hydrated all day long, especially going into that workout. If you want to have a really wild pump, drink as much water as you can going in there. One time to test this out, I actually drank an entire gallon going into a workout. The pump was insane with this kind of ingredient. Now, glycerol, the main part of glycer size, is a sugar alcohol that copiously hydrogen bonds with water. Upon doing this, it can drive the combination into blood, cells, and muscle tissue, increasing total water volume and osmotic pressure. This is going to create an intense cellular hydration effect, leading to pumps synergizing with betaines. Researchers have found that trained athletes are able to last 21% longer than a placebo in tests where they cycle to exhaustion using this ingredient. Additionally, they were able to do it with reduced cardiovascular stress. So they're lasting longer with lower stress in the cardiovascular system, meaning their heart rates were lower while lasting longer. Pretty incredible. Now, beyond that, you also get power gains from this ingredient. A study published in 2012 showed that glycerol was able to boost both aerobic and anaerobic power output after 20 days of consumption. So make sure that you're using this frequently. Taking that even further, the added water from glycerol brings the benefit of better blood flow. So yes, we do get that water pump, but you also get better blood flow. Again, the entire point of this product is better blood flow, so we love those side benefits. You can definitely learn a lot more about glycerol on our channel if you want to check out any of our major glycerol posts. We do go deep dives in a lot of these ingredients, and so we're happy that the Gorilla Chemist is using these kinds of ingredients that we've already done that deep dive on. I'm not going to go as far in this video because, well, the content already exists, and we recommend that you definitely deep dive on it so you can understand ingredients going forward. But I hope this was helpful in explaining this one ingredient. Now, from there, we get into some more interesting and novel ingredients found in Chemix, like Endo Pump at 800 milligrams. Now, this is Gorilla Chemist's own ingredient here. Endo Pump is actually a blend of 3 different botanicals that have different mechanisms. And the first one's going to be Punica granatum, which is going to be pomegranate extract. There's also epicatechin in here. And this last one, which I could try to read out to you, but it is so long, it doesn't really make sense, which is icariin. Literally took Mike, I'm reading here, 88 seconds to type it out. 5-hydroxy-2,4-methoxyphenyl 8,3-methyl but 2-enol-7 2s3r 4s 5s 6r 345 trihydroxy-6-hydroxymethyl oxin 2-oxyl 3-2. You get the point. Let's take these apart one by one. So pomegranate extract we talk about a lot in pump ingredients. There's a lot of different things that go on here, but repeatedly, we talk about boosting nitric oxide levels. Now, this is one way to reliably improve blood flow and lower blood pressure, both in the short term and the long term. This is done through nitrite and nitrate levels here with pomegranate. Some other ingredients will boost nitric oxide through arginine or through enos and stuff like that, but this nitric oxide pathway here is going to be through nitrite and nitrate levels. What's nice about this is we're looking at a different pathway than your normal ingredients here that we have in the product. We're going to be taking this in a couple different pronged approach to make sure that a bunch of different pathways are activated and producing good blood flow. The other nice thing about this, though, is that the secondary benefit here is going to be protecting nitric oxide against oxidative damage. Now, we also have S7 in here, which is another combination of botanicals, and because pomegranate isn't in that one, it actually synergizes very well. But we'll get to that when we get to S7. Lastly, the last benefit of pomegranate extract here is going to be anabolic constituents known as oleanolic acid, gallic acid, ursolic acid, and ellagic acid. Now, ellagic acid leads to greater production of mTOR boosting urolithin B, which if you've actually watched our video about Glaxon's anomaly, I go pretty far in on urolithin B. It's also been found in other ingredients of very, very competitive and disruptive companies in the industry. Urolithin B has incredible anabolic properties of its own, and there's a really good reason why it's in there. Though it isn't really the main point of this product, it's kind of a fun one to point out as a nice little addition. The one thing to note, though, is that we don't really know what's being standardized in this pomegranate extract, and that's why I kind of noted out all the different possibilities of what could be in here. Pomegranate extract has a lot of different benefits when it comes to pumps and in the gym, so I figured I'd list all of them out for you. Now, after that, we have epicatechin, which is going to be a very popular muscle building ingredient. We see it in a lot of really great products as far back as Animal, as new as Ghost, and obviously in the innovation leading product of Chemix. Now, it's actually found in chocolate, and it's used to boost strength and muscle growth. It also has benefits of endurance and reducing fatigue, and of course, in this product, boosting nitric oxide. When big news articles come out discussing the benefits of dark chocolate, epicatechin is often the big ingredient that they're talking about, so to give you a little bit of a point of reference. And the last one is going to be that very long ingredient that can be simply called icariin. Now, this is a PDE inhibitor, specifically PDE5 inhibitor, which is very similar to how Viagra works, if you can remember. That little blue drug that you probably never used, right? The background is that these PDEs regulate intracellular levels of CGMP and CAMP. We've covered CGMP before, like in citrulline articles, and CAMP in a lot of like berberine articles. But PDE5, which is what we're talking about here, is specifically a PDE specific to CGMP. So again, we're talking about something related to citrulline here. It should ring a bell tell about nitric oxide and blood flow. Now, this is expressed in nearly all tissues, but mostly smooth muscle as well as pancreatic and cardiovascular cells. But those smooth muscles and cardiovascular cells is going to be what we're looking at here. PDE inhibitors are a group of compounds that help keep PDE low, further elevating cGMP levels. And this is kind of nice because it's far beyond what citrulline would ever do, and that's why it's so strong for ED drugs. This specific PDE5 inhibitor named icariin is found in horny goat wheat. The name kind of leads to exactly what it is. It's usually a libido booster, but specifically it helps out with a lot of blood flow issues here, which can really tie well with ED drugs or libido boosters, specifically promoting eNOS as well, another pathway to producing more nitric oxide, which all ends in vasorelaxation, synergizing really well with citrulline and providing a very strong pump. Now, I'm not sure why a lot of brands don't use this more often. Icariin itself is a very strong product for blood flow. We've seen it in some products, but usually it's priced completely out of the range of what Chemix offers it for, and I actually am a really big fan of Chemix doing that because they give you an ingredient you don't see very often. It's kind of exotic in its own way, and they give it at an affordable price. Now, all that being said, we talked about vasorelaxation, which really brings us well into our VasoDrive section here. Now, VasoDrive-AP at 254 milligrams, you've obviously heard of this either under this name or its more medical name, amyl peptide, is a really unique ingredient that includes 2 lactotripeptides. Now, we'll just shorten them down to IPP and VPP, and they actually come from a casein protein. So if you are dairy sensitive or allergic, it's one thing to know. You'd have to be really sensitive to it for it to be a problem. If you're allergic to dairy as a whole, that's something to consider. For instance, I don't really drink very much dairy. Sometimes I have whey, but I try to stay away from dairy as a whole because it can make me break out, but I can still handle this product very well. But with that out of the way, this is a very powerful ACE inhibitor. Now, ACE inhibitors are usually helpful for lowering blood pressure because angiotensin converting enzyme, ACE, is an enzyme that actually causes vasoconstriction. So when we inhibit it, we drop that, we make the body relax. Now, this effect increases blood vessel diameter, so it's going to open up that blood vessel wider and allow for more blood flow. There are over 30 different studies on these lactotripeptides, which are extremely well covered in the meta-analysis entitled Casein-Derived Lactotripeptides Reduce Systolic and Diastolic Blood Pressure in a Meta-Analysis of Randomized Clinical Trials. Really fun story about this product, I'll make very short, is when I was down at ISSN earlier this year, actually last year, 2021, I met with Hector Lopez, one of the people who actually is behind this ingredient, VasoDrive. Now, they actually found this ingredient as a meal peptide, already trademarked, but used in much more of a medical setting, and realized the benefits of it for sports nutrition, and convinced them to also label the name and license out the product so that they can label under a different name for sports purposes. And that's where you find VasoDrive-AP. And that's one of the reasons why you find it at so many different dosages in sports nutrition is a meal peptide has to be licensed for 508 milligrams, but VasoDrive-AP can be at different dosages. And I think that's kind of important because when you're taking blood vessel, relaxing and nitric oxide boosting and ACE inhibiting ingredients, you can drop your blood pressure a lot. We don't always need a huge dosage of this ingredient to get the job done, especially alongside other ingredients. So this includes a completely different pathway here, again, increasing the amount of different pathways that we're attacking blood pressure and blood flow here. Now, lastly, we're getting down to a couple small final ingredients here. Gymnema sylvester, standardized to 75% gymnemic acids at 250 milligrams. Now, this is an awesome carbohydrate, nutrient partitioning ingredient, and carbohydrates are going to be what's really important for driving mass amounts of glycogen into muscle cells. Now, obviously, that glycogen comes from carbohydrates, but some things can help with that a decent amount. If you remember, Girl Chemist came out with a lot of really great GDA products when used pre-workout, help drive blood flow and pumps so nicely. So it's not really a big surprise that it includes a GDA ingredient in here. Gymnema increases insulin release, and also that insulin is going to draw carbohydrates into cells. It's going to bring in water with them, and all of these nutrients and boosting not only glycogen storage, but water as well. Most studies on Gymnema revolve around its ability to control blood sugar itself. It's not really studied as a pump ingredient, but it has been, however, shown to do exactly what the Gorilla Chemists tout. results: better insulin secretion. So this is going to be the carb part of the pump. Again, another part of this multi-pronged approach to creating a great pump in the gym. Lastly, we talk about S7. This is going to be the lowest dose ingredient here at 100 milligrams, the clinical dosage for this ingredient. Now, S7 is a trademarked ingredient that's short for Spectra 7. It's going to be a blend of natural botanicals like green coffee bean, green tea, blueberry, tart cherry, broccoli, turmeric, kale, and these all have really strong antioxidant properties. Now, realize that they've been shown to boost the bioavailability of nitric oxide because nitric oxide is a free radical and it wants to bind to something. But after it does that, it becomes inactive. So what happens actually here is that the antioxidants in S7 bind to free radicals that would otherwise bind with nitric oxide, thereby improving the amount and duration of nitric oxide generated from your workout and L-Citrulline. So this is a bit of a more of a defensive strategy, and a lot of people were very bullish on S7 to start out. It kind of died out a little bit, but I love this application of it. Is it the mainstay of this product? No. But does it offer a defensive secondary position in this product that can help maintain the nitric oxide levels that you produce from all of these strong ingredients in here? Absolutely. And for that reason, I'm a fan of how they use S7 in here. S7's data is a little bit wonky with the way that they put it together, but anyone who has used the ingredient knows that it absolutely does work. So I love the way that they strategically included this in here. Now, the flavors they throw this in are going to be Gorilla Blood, Orange Sherbet, and a variety pack. We haven't seen the variety pack anywhere, but the Gorilla Blood and the Orange Sherbet, I've taken the Orange Sherbet. I got the Gorilla Blood. I haven't taken this one yet, but understand, Gorilla Chemix products, he has openly stated, are not made for flavor. Because of the wild ingredients he puts in here, the flavors are not always going to be all that great, but you're going to get a great benefit from that. So with all that being said, I hope this was helpful, informative, educational. I do have to say I got this product for free. We do have a business affiliate relationship with Chemix, Black Magic, Blocks, the active distribution in general, but I really shouldn't take away anything from the incredible formulas that they have here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. I'd love to talk to you about this product or Chemix or them in general. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.